Okay, the why to get coaching, and also included in that concept would be the when of getting coaching. So, a lot of times in coaching or in applying to getting coaching, you do an assessment that would be like coachability, right? So, you're asking, how coachable are you? And I like that idea, except for the fact that it's not an on-off switch. And so, and it's periodic, right? Because as you live your life, you go through undulations of more coachability, less coachability, right? So the sponge is full and now the sponge is empty again and you want more coaching. And I think an important distinction to make is the uniqueness of the relationship with the coach, and then understanding where you're at in a particular ebb and flow of your life, and when to so how to set up the frequency of coaching. And so the uniqueness of coaching is that because you're interacting with another person, you're working through all of the ideas in your head, like say goals and aspirations and your vision for the future and all those types of things, or you're dealing with a specific problem in one area of your life and that kind of thing inside your head. When you're working with another coach, in a very general sense, one of the great aspects of it is it creates a specific type of container that allows you to interact with another person and get those things out. And that other person, obviously because they haven't had the same life journey that you have, if they're actively listening well and if they're able to see and help you confront the uncomfortable things, the things that you would avoid, that creates that unique situation of being able to uncover things that you wouldn't normally be able to uncover within your own mind, in your own space and time. So I think that's a really important thing to do, and I don't think it can be substituted by, say, your intimate partner or another role in life. And so I think it's one of the great advantages of the modern world to be able to create that type of unique relationship. And that's why that would be the underpinning why of doing it. And so if you understand that part of it, then you wouldn't go at coaching as a one-off deal, like it helps you fix a problem and then you're intrinsically motivated and you can figure everything out because nobody's an island. And so if you look at the real high performers, and using the metaphor of a sports situation, you have your on season and off season, or your on competition, your off competition, right? And you're getting your coaching when you're prepping for competition or that peak circumstance. If you're an intellectual thinker and if you're a speaker, that could be doing a TED Talk or anything like that. So you get all that coaching up to that point, and then the nature of the coaching shifts, when that person becomes, like, say, your corner man in the competition, if you will. And so that speaks to the ebb and flow of peak performance or high performance, and low performance, right? Like when you need a rest and recovery situation. And so I'm getting into the whens of it. And so there's two books that I highly recommend. Rise of Superman, Stephen Kotler, and then his latest one, which is The Art of the Impossible, which is a peak performance primer. That's a subtext. Carrying on from guys like Mihai Csikszentmihalyi and Martin Seligman, I believe his last name is, if I pronounced it right, in positive psychology, basically the progenitors of positive psychology in the way it is in contemporarily. Stephen Kotler and his research team and sort of where they're going with it is speaking to that cycle. And so I like to say that sort of the beginning of the coaching cycle, if you will, is when the recovery phase, when you're in a recovery phase and you start looking outwards and you start gathering up new facts and figures to get into the struggle phase. If you're unfamiliar, there's 4 phases to it. So you start with struggle phase, then you get into the release phase, then into the flow aspect of things, and then recovery before you start over again. And so I say coaching is not just a remedial process of therapy, but it gets into, you can parallel with it with flow. And a high amount of flow gives you more productivity, more creativity, more personal satisfaction, and it's sort of the idealized state of being in the moment and performing and perfect decision making. That's being in the flow. And so understanding that cycle and understanding the uniqueness of coaching and how it can benefit and leverage what you're doing in everyday life, that gives you a context for understanding why and when. So there you go.